Welcome to the Military Bottom Line Podcast, where we help you make the most out of your military contract. Today on the show, I have Kelly Patterson. She's been in the Marine Corps for just about 12 years now and has done some pretty remarkable things. Everything from working in the intelligence community to working as embassy security guards around the world and taking advantage of the enlisted to commissioned Marine Corps college program where she's obtained her degree, all while on active duty military. So she's got a lot of experience to talk from, and I think you guys will enjoy the show. Hey, Kelly, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to kind of learning about your career thus far, and I'd love to hear kind of a backstory about how you joined the Marine Corps and what you've done thus far.
Okay, so I joined back in 2009, and I initially joined, you'll probably find it kind of funny, I was voted a senior most to join the military in high school.
No kidding.
And up until that point, I really didn't know how I was going to pay for college. I was the youngest of three, and my other two sisters went to college as well. And I kind of just wanted to get out of my hometown, so joining the Marine Corps was kind of killing two birds with one stone, I guess. I got out of my hometown and I was able to get a bachelor's degree. So.
Awesome. So what did you enlist for? What was your job that you started off doing?
So I enlisted as an intelligence analyst, 0231.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did that for the first, 3-4 years or so?
Almost 4 years. I did end up doing quite a few things. So my first duty station, I was out in California. I was an intelligence analyst. But with that, I did some kind of side duties too. I was a range coach and everything like that too.
Are those things that you volunteered for or you were picked for?
Volunteered for, but also picked for. So they had a list of people in the shop who had expert rifle qualifications, and they were only taking experts. And then I volunteered off that list. So.
Awesome. Or were you glad to volunteer for that? I feel like oftentimes people are told, like, once you're volunteer to join the military, after that point, don't volunteer for anything, So how do you feel like your experience with volunteering once you're in the military has served you?
So I absolutely think that volunteering is the way to go because my career has turned out fantastic because of all the things that I volunteered for. And I won't say that I did it out of haste or just randomly or didn't think about it, but really volunteering has gotten me 11 successful years in the Marine Corps so far.
Yeah, so. That's awesome, for sure. All right, so then you were out at Camp Pendleton, and then you went on to the embassy program, right?
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, your first enlistment, before you went to the embassy program, you were pretty over the Marine Corps.
So it's funny. I was kind of over the Marine Corps, and it was because I volunteered to go on the embassy security guard program about a year and a half at my first duty station. So I volunteered for it, but they turned me down because I was young. I was a lance corporal. At the time, I didn't own a car, so I didn't have any proof that I was financially responsible or anything like that. And I had volunteered for a couple of deployments and got denied or taken off rosters. I did a couple workups, never actually got to deploy. And that, I will say, like, one of my reasons too for joining the Marine Corps, outside of what I mentioned before, school and getting out of my hometown, I did want to deploy.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that opportunity. And then they dangled embassy security guard duty in front of me right as my enlistment was about to expire. And I was like, absolutely, I'll do it. I wanted to do it when I got here.
Yeah. So. Yeah, for sure. So that's another good point. You had to volunteer for deployments that you didn't even get. So like, how does that work? I mean, you would think that joining the Marine Corps of all the branches during a time of war, it's like a guaranteed deployment.
Well, so that's something that you would think, but at the time we were at war, so we were plussed up in numbers. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody was trying to deploy. And I kind of got in after the conclusion of Iraq and after we had already done a couple pumps to Afghanistan. And my unit had already deployed by the time I had gotten to them. And we had about probably 30 analysts at the time of my shop who can be attached to really any unit on the base that rates an analyst. But there weren't any deployments that my shop had already deployed as a unit, and it kind of rotates through the intel battalion. So it was first, then it was second, and then it was third. So second had already deployed when I got to it, and third was up.
Gotcha. Awesome. Okay. So then the myth of guaranteed deployments in the Marine Corps has been busted is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So then you did your MSG duty that's a 3-year assignment, right?
Yes, but I did 4 years.
4 years. Okay. How does that work? Oh, and where did you end up getting stationed, if you can say?
Oh, I can say. So the way that Embassy Security Guard program works is I went out as a watchstander. So I was a sergeant or below, and then there's staff and CO or below. Sergeant and below is a watchstander. Staff sergeant above is a deck commander. So as a watchstander, you get 3 posts in 3 years. And as a detachment commander, you get 2 posts. You spend 1.5 years at each post. My first station, my first embassy was Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso.
Where's that?
It's in West Africa. It borders Chad and Mali.
No kidding.
Yeah. So when they actually announced it, they just said Ouagadougou. Not that I would have known where it was at the time if they had said Burkina Faso either. But
you could take a guess,
I was
maybe.
kind of floored. I was like, I have no idea. Yeah, I had to as soon as we left, I was like, I got to look at a map. I have no idea where I'm going.
Yeah.
But I ended up loving it. I loved Burkina Faso, and then after that, I went to Shanghai, China. I was there from 2014 to 2015. And then I came back to the security augmentation unit for the Embassy Security Guard program, and I was there for 2 years. That's cool. Based off of Quantico.
Cool. Okay. So what's it like? I mean, very few, I should say, people are going to volunteer to go live in like West Africa. And I mean, what is that like? And are you happy for that experience, or was it a rough year?
Oh no, I absolutely loved it. I think I had a rough year in China just because that's kind of not my cup of tea. Shanghai is a huge city with a ton of people, and there's a lot of air pollutions, and you can't really get outside. I could probably count on 1 or 2 hands the amount of times the sun came out the entire year I was there.
Wow. Because of the smog or just the clouds? I mean, all around, just the weather kind of sucked?
The smog. It's smog from the city. And
unreal.
It's so bad that the Department of State actually issues you UV lamps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they give you like gas masks to wear the whole time, or what do they do about the smog and the respiratory problems from that?
No, so they recommend that you buy an air filtration mask before you come out there. I did it. They're relatively inexpensive. They're less than $30. So, and you get issued one when you go there. At least I know that the Marine Corps pays for them for you.
Gotcha. So. Okay, cool, awesome. So then you did the MSG program. You finished that, and then what was next after that for you?
Well, so I was on the Embassy Security Guard program for 4 years. In my 4th year, I didn't really explain. You can extend for a 4th year as long as your monitor allows you to.
Oh, okay.
And so I spent 2 years at the Security Augmentation Unit, which is, yes, still part of the Embassy Security Guard program, but it's a little different, where you go on security augmentation deployment in 30 to 60 days. and you'll go and you'll basically plus up the security presence at an embassy that already has a security detachment.
Gotcha. Yep.
I did that for 2 years and absolutely loved it.
Awesome. And
And
that's the same
then
thing that
you can
Ethan
also
did.
do,
That's the same thing that Ethan did in episode 4, I think it was, of the podcast, right? Like the quick reaction kind of
yeah,
thing.
he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Very cool. And did you get to go some exciting places on that assignment too, or for the shorter stints?
Yeah, so I did a security augmentation unit in Bujumbura, Burundi, and I also did several VIP supports in Turkey
Cool.
and where else? Oh, Barcelona.
Awesome. Not bad. Not bad. Awesome. So you mentioned monitor. I kind of want to fill in. What does that mean? What is a monitor?
So your military occupational specialty monitor he or she is responsible for literally plugging and placing Marines into empty spots where a unit needs a specific billet filled. So if it's a sergeant or below or staff sergeant above, you all have the same monitor if you're an O231. So
Gotcha. And so basically they let you extend because you weren't needed anywhere else at the time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. So that's up to year 7 basically we're at, and we've got a couple more years to go before we're caught up to date. So what's the last couple of years held for you?
So last couple of years, actually, I applied to the Marine Enlisted Commissioning Education Program.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what that is me transitioning from enlisted to be an officer. And I applied and got accepted right off of the embassy security guard duty. I went to officer candidate school in the summer of 2016, and then I graduated and I went to school for 3 years to complete my bachelor's degree.
Awesome. And those 3 years, I mean, you're still technically a full-time Marine Corps, getting paid, years towards retirement while going to school. Like that's your obligation is school, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was getting paid as a staff sergeant, going to school full time. That was pretty much my job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so are you going to school all year round, summers included, or how does that balance out?
Yes, summers included. You can if you if it works into your schedule and if it helps you graduate. So if it applies to your degree, you can also study abroad. I didn't have that opportunity, but I do have friends that did.
Cool. Awesome. So then, I mean, wherever the school has a program abroad, the Marine Corps would allow you and continue to pay. Like same situation, you're just studying abroad. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
If somebody, were interested in pursuing this, I mean, you said you applied for it, so it's not just something that you got picked for necessarily. You had to pursue it, right? And
Correct. Yeah. So I will say it is kind of a tedious process. They have completely changed it since I've done it.
Okay.
My package was a paper package. I had to print everything out. I had to create everything myself. But now it's all online. It's all digital. So
Cool.
I'm not really familiar with how that works, but it's a long, tedious process. I think it took me about 6 months to build the package.
Wow. What kind of things are they looking for, and who even qualifies to apply for that kind of thing?
So they are looking for people who have already started their college degree. I will say that it's not a huge requirement for credits that you need to have before you apply. You have to have 12 credits, 3 in math, 3 in English, 3 in science, and I can't remember what the other one was.
Okay.
But what was your question? I'm sorry, I lost.
Like, what are the prereqs, I guess, to be able to apply for this program?
So you have to be a sergeant above.
Okay.
That changes periodically. Before it was a corporal and above, then they changed it to sergeant and above. You have to have those 12 credits. You have to have a first class PFT, preferably a higher first class PFT. and the board is pretty competitive. They don't have a set number of allocations every year that is consistent. It's different every year, but they always release a board. The board results and the board trends, they do a full report of that you can view on Marines.mil.
Cool. Okay. And did they let you pick the college that you went to, or do they assign that to you?
So you get to pick really whatever college you want to go to, as long as it's affiliated with an NROTC.
Okay.
So that's how they kind of keep accountability of you while you're on this program. You'll do a couple of things with the NROTC. You'll report for a drill period once a week, and you will PT with them probably about 3 times a week. But it's really not super intensive. And like I said, you're getting paid full time to go to school and finish your degree.
Yeah.
It
And so
doesn't really...
do you have to apply both to the MECEP program and the school, or is it kind of like one package for both? Do you just automatically get into the school you want?
Yes and no. So you definitely have to apply for both separately.
Okay.
I applied to my college after I graduated OCS. Some people applied beforehand, and the college you pretty much are guaranteed to get into, just because you have to use your benefits to pay for it. So you're going to either be using the post 9/11 or the Montgomery GI Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And the school would kind of be stupid to not accept you because it's guaranteed money.
For sure.
They know they know they're going to get paid because the government's going to pay them.
Yeah, and they assume because you were admitted to the program that you're probably a good student. So yeah, it's a safe bet. Awesome. Okay, and you just graduated, right?
Yeah, I graduated on May 3rd, and I got commissioned on May 3rd as well. So,
very cool.
Yeah, I graduated with my bachelor's in security and intelligence and minor in Russian.
Very cool. Impressive. And now you're going to be an officer in the intel field, or do you not know yet?
So hoping. When you go to TBS, you compete for your MOS. So I'm actually getting ready to go to TBS in 2 weeks. So I'll be going there on the 8th.
And what is TBS? We're trying to make sure we explain all the acronyms. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. TBS is the basic school for officers. It's a 6-month course, and that's where I'll compete for my MOS. The only MOS that is guaranteed when you go to TBS is if you have a flight contract. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it's an impressive career right there. Well, you've done a lot, so that's pretty cool. And your mindset has definitely changed. I mean, from wanting to get out after the first 3 years to now at 12 years, and you owe them at least 4 years now after doing the MECEP program, right?
It's actually 6. So you only have to do 4 active, and then the last 2 can be in the
IRR.
Yeah, the IRR.
Yeah, just inactive, ready reserves, like to get stop lost, basically, if you needed to. Awesome. Okay. So then how do you feel? It seems kind of like an obvious answer, but how do you feel your military career has like kind of prepped you for the future and getting out? I mean, you've done a lot and have a lot on your resume already, so it seems pretty basic, but let's hear it.
I think it's absolutely prepared me. So as an intelligence analyst, I had a top secret clearance. That alone is super valuable. I have my degree, which is super valuable. I have another 4 years at the minimum on active duty where I can use TA to put classes towards my bachelor or my master's.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as long as you work hard and really kind of take advantage of the opportunities, there's so many opportunities.
Yeah,
you can really get far ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all of this said, and a career at this point, you've experienced a lot of good, but what would you say are like the downsides of it all, and what's the sacrifice, if you will, that it's cost you in order to accomplish all these things?
So I kind of looked at this and I thought about it for a little bit, and there's two really kind of big things that I think people should be aware of about the military. And I think most people are kind of aware already that you move around a lot, but I can probably say I've moved at least 8 times in the last 11 years.
Hmm.
And it really, the Marine Corps is really good, or just the military in general is really good at taking you away from a place after you've just started to establish roots and get
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I really have a handle on this job, and I've made some great relationships at work.
Hmm.
Um, and then they're like, no, we're going to take you and plant you somewhere else, and you got to start all over again.
Yeah.
So that can be tough. That can be really tough. It can wear on you. But you kind of get better at it the more time you spend in.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
and I would say the second thing is I don't want to say you have to sacrifice your body, but you kind of do. I
In what
definitely
sense? What that sounds like it could be taken many different ways, but what do you mean by that?
not I don't want to say that you sacrifice your health or anything like that, but you definitely
Hmm.
have to put more thought into your health than I would say anybody else that's your age. So
Physically.
really, if yeah,
Yeah.
physically,
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time staying in shape. You spend a lot of time thinking about what goes in your body, like
Hmm.
food, alcohol, like it kind of affects you differently than it would somebody else. And physical fitness is such a huge part of how you are racked and stacked against your peers.
Yeah.
So,
Is physical fitness not automatic in the military and in the Marines?
no, no, it's not. You have to work really hard to maintain it. Um, and most of the time, in a perfect world, the Marine Corps usually does. There's an order; they have to provide you with a
Yeah.
place to work out, whether it be a physical gym or with the equipment. In
Hmm.
some capacity, they have to provide that to you. But sometimes in the more remote locations like Africa, it's a little
Yeah.
bit harder. So.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Good good deal. What kind of advice would you give to somebody that's like either early on in their career or considering a career in the Marine Corps or military for that matter?
So we kind of already touched on it. I am a huge advocate for the volunteer. I know it sounds cheesy, it sounds kind of overplayed a little bit, but really
Hmm.
volunteering got me to where I am. I volunteered for the program. I pursued certain things and really just take every opportunity that's really given to you and
Yeah.
see where it takes you. Um, because it's worked for me so far.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. And I think most people I talk to that have volunteered um, for every opportunity, they only have good things to say. So, you know, I definitely would agree with that. So I mean, based on your experience, it sounds like you would you recommend the military to, you know, a younger sister or Johnny on the street kind of thing, or
I absolutely would. I think it should definitely be a bigger consideration. I don't think enough people think about it as a solid career.
mm,
And, at first, when I first joined, I didn't see myself doing a full 20, but now I really want to. Will
yeah,
I get there? I don't know yet.
yeah,
I'm pretty far along on my way to do that. Um, but the Marine Corps, college, trade school.
awesome. You kind of broke up there a little bit, but sounds like you would recommend it is what I took away from what I gathered there.
Yeah.
Awesome, good deal. Well, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you sharing your story and kind of how you went about your career and kind of shining light on the opportunity that others could follow in your footsteps. So it's good insight, good wisdom. And you're speaking from experience, so I appreciate you sharing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed listening to everything about Kelly's experience in the Marine Corps and her career thus far. If you guys want more information on Military Bottom Line or Kelly, you can refer to militarybottomline.com. Look forward to seeing you guys next time.